Hello everyone and welcome to today's session, which is part 3 of the bank feed series, where we will look at the new import feature of being able to import your transactions into your bank feeds module. My name is Abby and I'm going to be your host for this morning, and it is just me on today's session, so I will be hosting and I will be answering questions, so please do bear with me on that one. I will try my best to answer them live on the session, but if I don't get a chance to, I will pick them up after the session has ended and I'll just contact you directly via email. So this session is booked out for around 45 minutes. We may not need that full time, and it usually depends on if we've got any questions outstanding at the end. Okay, so before we start the session, just want to talk a little bit more about the housekeeping that we do on every session. So when you join, you will be placed on mute automatically. If you do have any questions, however, you can use the questions panel down the right-hand side of your screen by clicking the option that looks like a little speech bubble with the question mark in the middle. We do also have a handout for you today, so you can download this by clicking on the button that looks like a little document with the folded corner. And we would recommend downloading this because it does have some helpful links to our help centre. So that is only available on the session. So once the session is ended, you won't be able to get access to it. So we always do recommend to download those handouts on the session. Okay, so just before we get started, I just want to reiterate, you might have attended other sessions as well as today, but I just want to explain where the bank feed series comes from. So we've been doing bank feeds series for over a year now. It's still a very popular topic, and we do always get plenty of attendees on those sessions as well. So we do part 1, which is all about automatic feeds. So that's where it links directly to your bank and downloads the transactions for you. Part 2 is all about creating and managing rules, and this is available for both automatic and manual feeds, so it's also available for what we're covering today. We're not going to cover it on today's session, as we do have part 2 that you can go and get registered for, but also as well there is recordings available if you're quite urgent and you need to watch it now. And that link will be included in your follow-up email as well. So you're going to get links to the registration page, but also you're going to get a link to the recordings page as well if you do want to check those out. Okay, so this is what we're going to be covering on to today's session. So I'm going to introduce you to bank feeds, and then I'm going to demonstrate how to import your transactions and also bank feed processing, how the bank feeds module works as well. And then towards the end of the session, we'll just talk about upcoming webinars. Now, just before we begin in getting into the content, I just want to launch a poll on your screen there. So just wanting to know, have you attended any of the previous bank feed sessions? So have you attended part 1 only, part 2 only, both or none? So if you can just pop your votes in there for me. We usually wait until we get around 70-75% of the votes in. And then what I'll do is I'll then share the results with you on the screen. So if you can pop your votes in there for me, and then I'll share the results with you shortly. Okay, so we've got around 70%. So I'm just going to close that poll down and I'll share the results with you as well. So as you can see, so people have either attended part 1, with 0% of today's attendees have attended part 1 only. Some of you have only attended part 2 only. 40% of you attended both, and then 40% of you have attended none. So again, part 1 might not be relevant to you because your bank is not compatible, and that's why you're here today on part 3. And like I say, part 2 can be used for both automatic and manual feeds as well, so that can be used for both. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll hide that poll down and we'll get straight stuck into it. So if you have attended part 1, some of this information is going to be familiar to you. So we always like to reiterate this to those who are not using automatic feeds as well. So let's take a look at what it might look like if you're just manually reconciling your bank account, so not using bank feeds. So you might be doing that through the software, or you might be doing that outside of the software. What you'll be doing is you'll be accessing your statements, whether that's online, printing them off, or receiving them in the post. You may have a lot of transactions, so your statements are long, or you may have a few months worth of reconciling to do if it's been a busy period, which could lead to a bit of paperwork on and around your desk. Now, I'm not saying everybody's desk might be cluttered, but just as an example. Then what you'll be doing is you'll be cross-referencing what's on your Sage software, creating new transactions, and then looking for it on the statement. That might be a couple of pages long, so you're flicking through your pages as well. Now, if you are using bank feeds, all that information is displayed in one place on the screen. Now, you don't need to see what's actually just being displayed, the information on there on that little screen. But that means that there's no need for printed statements or flicking between browsers or PDF documents then back to the Sage software. You can match the imported transactions from your bank to either existing transactions, create new ones with a click of a button, or create rules for them to be posted automatically for you. Then once you've matched all of the relevant transactions, it will take you to the normal bank reconcile screen. And all your match transactions will already be in the match section of the bank reconciliation window. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get stuck into it, and I'm going to introduce you to the import side of the bank feeds. So this is new. This is only available in version 30.1 and above. So you must be on that version to be able to use this option. So what you can do is you can manually import your bank transactions from any bank into the bank feeds module. Again, as I've just mentioned, you do have to be on version 30.1 as that was part of the release this year. You might be wondering, well, why would I use this option? So it might be that an automatic feed may not be supported, but it allows you to still use the bank feeds module, use all of its features. If you also, because you might have a couple of banks connected to bank feeds, some might be compatible and some might not be. It might also be as well that you can use this import feature with automatic bank feeds as well. So it might be that you're starting to use bank feeds, but you've got historical transactions. So you might not be, it might be that your predecessor never used to do bank reconciliation in the software. So you've got a lot of historical transactions that need to be bank reconciled. So what you can do is you can, as far back as your bank may allow you to download transactions, you might be able to download that list and then import it into the software. And if you've got transactions that already exist in the Sage software that match what's on the imported transactions, it could be that the automatic matching of the bank feeds feature may detect a lot of those transactions and then suggest that they be matched, and then you can choose to approve, confirm that they are correct. But I'll go through that in the demonstration. So the benefits, it's got all the same functionality as if you were using automatic feeds. So auto match, manual match, creating rules, ignore transactions, and also process recurring items. And also as well, you get to import from any date range. So when you use automatic feeds, some banks only allow you to download the last 90 days using the connecting via the banking service. Whereas if you import transactions, you'll have more flexibility to do that as well. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pop over to my software and I'll show you how to import that document. So what I want to do first is I'm just going to open up the document that I'm going to import so you can see what that looks like. I'm just going to open this up, bear with me a moment. And I'm just going to drag this across. So this is what my document would look like if I was importing it into the software that I've downloaded from my bank. So it's very different to when you're importing transactions into your Sage software, into the transactions module. The documents are very different. This one you shouldn't need to amend anything other than potentially the column headers, but I'm going to come into that in just a moment. So you can see all I've got is a date range. I've got a reference, a bank reference, and the amount, whether that's negative or positive. So I'm just going to close that down because you do need to close it down when you are going to import. So we're going to go into the bank feeds module down the left-hand side. And we're going to look at the bank 1210. So I'm going to click Get Started. And I'm going to use this option here, the import. So you can see we've got manual, so that's importing, and then you've got automatic, which is where it connects directly to your bank. So this demonstration for part 3, we're going to look at import statement. So we'll click on that option there. And you can see as well, it brings up this information here. So Tools tells you more all about it. So it's a bit, seamless integration, bank feeds rule setup. It's got a guided process, and you can connect later. If your bank does eventually become compatible, you don't then have to set up a separate feed. You can actually connect your current bank account to a bank feed. But I'm going to show you how to do that option later on. So what you can do as well is you can also get more help. You'll see in this version as well, from version 29, Get Help was introduced, so you can see this throughout the software as well. So if you do need any further support, you have got that option there as well. So I'm going to click Continue. And then you'll be presented with this page here. So in here, it gives you the option to select a file to upload. Underneath, it tells you the files that we support. So we've got them listed here. So this is the file format. These files can also be identified by these different extensions. So it gives you the file format, but it gives you the file extension if that's something that you're more familiar with. Now, if you are importing a CSV or an Excel file, it does need to contain specific headers. So you can just open the import file guide, and then you can learn more here and you can find more information. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select a file from my device. And we're just going to get the import file. And then we're going to click to review transactions. So we'll click to review transactions. So it's going to give me the number of transactions and the date range. So 1st of June to the 26th of June. If I scroll down, I can then see my transactions in the list. Now you can see this option here. Money transactions are transactions are a positive amount. You can also click this option if you wish to switch the transaction types. So the positive will turn to negative and the negative will turn to positive. Now this just makes it easier for you to just simply click switch transaction types, then without you having to go in and manually changing them yourself and then going back in to re-import that file. You can just simply use that option there. So you can see here we've got date, description, we've got type, money in, money out, we've got the amount, and you can see anything that's money out is in red, make a clear indication of that. You can also as well choose if you want to see more items on the list rather than having multiple pages. You can then select that as well. So once you've reviewed that, you're happy with the information, you simply click Confirm Import. We'll let that go. And then you can see I've got import complete. So it's imported 26 transactions, and then that's transactions from the 1st of June to the 26th of June. So we'll close the window. It's going to update. And we can see there it's already detected 3 auto match transactions. So as I mentioned before, if you've got historical transactions that you might need to reconcile, you should download the file from your bank, import that in, and then what it'll do is if it matches the criteria, it will auto detect for you. Now I'm going to go through these just in just a moment. I'm not going to go into too much detail into the tabs, but I just want to mention as well, it might be that you're importing multiple files, multiple transactions. It might be, you've got the transactions downloaded in certain date ranges. So it might be that if you click on import again, what the software will do is will also detect if there's potential duplicates when you're importing. So this might be the case if you're importing a lot of transactions where they've got the same reference, the same date, and it might be like, for example, you might be on a subscription basis. So that might be a lot of your transactions are very, very, very similar. So if we click that file, we'll just click the same one again. When you click to review transactions, it will notify you. We think that, these might already be in Sage, these might already be imported into your bank feeds module. So it does detect that and it does make you aware, but you can just continue and it will import them. But it's just to, something for you to check just in case you've selected the wrong file, and you might end up adding in duplicate transactions, and then you would have to ignore them if they're not correct. So just to make you aware of that. Okay, so I'm going to do now is I'm going to pop back to my slides, and we'll go through each of the areas of the bank feed. So I'll go through the slides first, and then what we'll do is we'll go into the software, and then we'll do the live demonstration. So just make sure I'm sharing my screen. Lovely. So the bank feeds is a simple process. So it can be broken down into 3 easy steps. So we'll look at those in more detail. So the first one, as you've seen, is the auto match tab. So this is where it's going to show suggested matches. And it goes by a set of criteria. So it's got to be the same value, and it's got to be the same date, give or take 4 days. And it will come up as a suggested match. It might not be correct, so you can simply unmatch, or you can click to confirm. And you can see on my example there's a green link that indicates the transaction. So that's the auto match tab. Again, I'm going to go into demonstration shortly, but we'll go through these slides first. You've then got the to be matched tab. So this is where you would manually match your transactions. So this could be, matching multiple transactions, so it's not just on a one-to-one basis. So it could be one bank transaction to one Sage transaction, one bank transaction to many Sage transactions, many bank transactions to one Sage transaction, or many to many. But once that balance matches, it will automatically move to the confirmed tab. If the relevant Sage transaction does not exist, you can also create it at the click of a button without having to leave the bank feed screen. If the relevant Sage transaction try again. If you've realized that you've forgotten to process recurring transactions, any missing recurring items can be created from within the bank feeds module. And as I've mentioned before, you do have the option to ignore transactions and hide them from the bank feeds window, but you do also have that option to restore them back in if they've potentially been ignored in error. And then lastly, you've got the confirmed tab. So this allows you to review all your confirmed matches. It allows you to create rules at this point. You can also save and close at this point. So if you're coming back to do more of the reconciliation and matching transactions, or if you're ready, you can then save and continue to the reconciliation window. So what I'll do now is we'll pop over to the software again, and then we'll have a look at this in action. So what I'll do is, before we go into the auto matched and going through all of the tabs, I do want to just show you the settings that you have available to your bank feeds. So on your homepage of your bank feeds, this is where you'll see all the banks that are connected. So you can see on the import tile of the bank feeds that we've just worked on, you can see it says import only. And also as well, it will tell you when you last imported into your bank feed. You've got your little settings cog. So if you click on here, it will give you your bank feed status. You also have the option as well to flag transactions created from bank feeds rules as bank reconciled. And then if you want to remove the bank feed connection, or if you want to just, remove that bank, you can just click disconnect bank feeds here. You've also got, so that's just per bank there. You've also got settings in the top right where, if you have got connected banks, it will download once a day at 7 AM. So you can change that time. And then you've also got the option to download, almost like trigger a download to, just in case there's any transactions missing or there's new transactions that have occurred. And then also as well, you've just got the option for auto match transactions on opening bank feeds, and that's enabled as default. So we'll just go back into that import bank feed. And then we'll go through each of the tabs. So as you can see, these are auto matched transactions. So these are waiting for me to confirm that they're correct or unmatch if they're not. So you can just go down each of the tiles and just click confirm on each one. You also have the option to confirm all. It could be that you just want to confirm a selection, unmatch a selection, unmatch all, or you can ignore a selection as well. You do also have the option as well on the right. You've got add field, so there's a little menu. So you can actually include or not include information. So all of those are ticked, so you can have as little or as much as you want. So you've got the details, extra reference, and number. And you can see that they change as I do that. In the to be matched tab, you've got your, so like that auto match, you've got your bank transaction. So this is what's been imported on the left. And then you've got your Sage process transactions on the right. You can actually create a transaction by clicking on this option here. And this is where it'll ask if it's a bank receipt, a customer receipt, supplier refund, or bank transfer. If you were to choose a customer receipt, at this point, if you were to choose a customer with an invoice, let's see if we can find one. We might not have one available at the moment. But what you could do is, if you have, because this is the normal customer receipt window, nothing is any different. So if this is your area, you'd be familiar with this. So you can actually, at this point, if you create a transaction and you've got invoices outstanding, you can allocate at this point as well. So if I just create that as a payment on account, you can see now I've now got confirmed one in the confirm tab. You can also drag the transactions together. So it could be, as you can see, I've got a Santander bank loan. It could be that we're going to drag this one together and then drag this. But you can see as well, what you can also do is, if you haven't got the, all of the transactions on here, you can also create, it's part matched. You can also create transactions as well. Alternatively, if we want to unmatch those, you just click unmatch, unmatch. And it might be that we've got enough there, so we've got 2 there, drag and drop, and it puts them in that confirm tab for me. It might be as well that, you know, there might be duplicate transactions, or, you know, it's been imported in error. So what you can do is you can just simply highlight, ignore selection. If I want to restore that option, that transaction, click on the 3 little dots in the top right, click view ignored, change this filter. You can see that that transaction appears there. Now you can't, once they're in here, you can't actually delete them out of ignored as well. They will just remain in this window. That's not going to impact anything, you know, in terms of how your bank feeds works. It's just there. It's unable to remove them from there. But if you do want to restore it back into the list, click restore, and it will appear back on the left. For example, as well, if you've got a transaction, so let's just say we've got 320 there, we've got a part match here. What you can actually do is create a transaction for the remaining amount. So whether that be bank payment, supplier payment, customer refund, bank transfer. Another one as well that you can do is if you've got multiple transactions. So example, we've got this one, and this one. Now, if you just click create on that one tile, that's only going to create a transaction for that amount. What you want to be doing if you want to create that combined value is you select all the ones you want, and then in the top right, click create transaction. And then what that'll do is combine the value, and then you can choose which type of transaction you want to create. And then we'll just move into the confirm tab. So you can see I've got some transactions there. So we've got the transactions on the left, which is your bank transactions, and then your Sage transactions on the right. You can also search for confirmed transactions in here. You can also export this list that appears here. What you can also do actually as well is you can also filter within here in the to be matched tab. So you've got bank transactions, you can search here, and then you can search your Sage transactions here. You can also sort them by ascending and descending. So you've got your options by amount, date, default, reference type in there, and then you've got the options on the right for your Sage transactions. So transactions you've already created. So account reference, amount, date, X reference, number, reference, and type. You've also got that option that I showed you before where you can add extra details in. You've also got that option within to be matched as well. Pretty good question that's just come through. Let's just have a quick look. So once a bank feed has been downloaded, can you match just some of the transactions and leave the rest for them to come back, say, a week later? In the meantime, can you download more transactions? Will the early ones still be there for you to deal with? Correct. So what you can do is when you've matched them, if you're not ready to reconcile, do the whole reconcile process, you can just click save and close. And what that'll do is it'll move these ones that have been matched, they will move to the reconcile window. So they'll leave this tab and appear in your normal reconciliation window. If you were to import more transactions, that's fine. What it'll do is these transactions will just remain in this list until you have, you know, done something with them. So they won't disappear. They'll just be waiting here for you to match them, ignore them if they're not, you know, potentially if they're duplicates or an error. So you can continue, you know, if you don't have to do it all in one go, you can save and close and then come back when you're ready to do the rest. So there's no pressure to get that all done in one go. You can just click save and close. If you've matched everything and you're happy, you can then click save and continue. And then what it does is it just opens that normal reconcile screen. If we pop back into bank feeds, So as you can see, we've saved and got into the reconcile window. So you can see now my confirmed matches have then cleared out of here, and they remain in my reconcile screen. Okay, so if you are, if you have a bank that's incompatible at the moment, and then it becomes compatible, as I mentioned before, you can then just connect it to automatic feed. So you click on the three dots, and then you can just click connect to automatic feed, and then you go through that process. So you don't have to worry about losing rules that you've got set up or anything like that. You can just connect this existing feed that you have. You've also got the option in here with recurring items. Now, if you're going to start using bank feeds rules kind of replaces recurring items. You might find that rules doesn't work for you because you do only have the option to have a maximum of 300 rules. So you might want to still use recurring items. You've also got the option as well, if you've got that automatic feed already connected, and it might be that you want to import some historical transactions that you need to match. In your automatic feed, you've got the import option along the top. Okay, so that is the bank feeds import feature. It's giving you more flexibility to use bank feeds when an automatic feed may not be available, but it's enabling you to still be more proficient with your bank reconciliation. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to pop back to my slides. Again, if you've got any further questions, now's the time to get them in as we near the end of the session. Okay, so bank feed speeds up your reconciliation process. It's free to use. You can set up rules to automate your processing. So with bank feeds rules as well, I will mention, you do have the option to approve automatic postings, or it can post automatically into the software for you. Foreign banks are supported, and there is in-product help and support available when you first set this up. Down the right-hand side, I have included some helpful links. So we've got the sage.co.uk/help. So that is just the generic help centre where you'll find plenty of articles on there. Just a reminder, you are also going to receive a link to this recording. So if you haven't been able to follow along whilst we've been on the session, then your recording will be available around an hour after the session has ended, where you can go back and watch and play and pause that video as well. If you can't wait an hour and you want to watch it again, there is recordings available already on there. There is also as well the Bank Feeds Hub, which is really helpful with getting set up and getting started with this as well. Just while I wait for any further questions to come through, just want to mention about our one-to-one bespoke training options. So we offer training bundles including stock control, construction industry scheme, banking. So especially if you're not very confident with the the banking side, so it might be bank reconciliation and working with the banks as well. There's also debtors and creditors, and also Sage Professional features. So if you're looking to upgrade from Essentials or Standard to Professional, you want to see what you're going to be getting access to, we do also offer that as well. If you are wanting a personalised quote, then you can email us at ukisageuniversity@sage.com. Okay, so I just want to mention as well upcoming webinars. So again, if you're looking to, expand your knowledge, definitely out of all of them, if you're going to, out of all the Bank Feed series, part 2, which is all about the rules, that can automate a lot of your processing as well. We're also doing sessions on two-factor authentication. We've got various dates on that with a live Q&A as well. We're also covering budget series, clear audit trail, company archive and year end. I'd also like to mention as well, we are doing another badging event. We've done this twice before, and they proved very, very popular, where you attend 4 out of the 7 sessions, and then you'll get access to a digital badge. Some people like to put them on their email signature to show their colleagues and their customers that they're more proficient in their software. So that's the 5th to the 12th of November. So what I'll do is I'll just show you a short video on what sort of sessions we're going to be covering. If you do have any questions, please do pop them across now and I'll get those answered.
Mark your calendars for International Accounting Day on November the 10th, 2024. From the 5th of November to the 12th, join us for a week of exclusive quick learns packed with time-saving tips you can't afford to miss. Attend at least 4 out of the 5 webinars and ace our International Accounting Day quiz to earn our 2024 digital badge.
Kick off your journey with our first webinar, Getting Paid Time-Saving Opportunities. Join us as we unveil some game-changing tips and showcase powerful features designed to ensure you get paid swiftly and on time. Don't miss out on this opportunity to streamline your payment process and boost your efficiency.
Up next, work smart, automating everyday transactions. Join Abby as she dives into the world of automation, showing you how to effortlessly handle those recurring transactions and cut down on manual data entry.
Don't miss out on Wednesday's session, Reporting Made Easy. Join Michael as he reveals the secrets to optimizing your reporting processes. Discover how to find the perfect report for your needs and learn to run multiple reports simultaneously. A fantastic time saver.
Following that, don't miss quick tips to protect your data. Jackie will be sharing essential tips on safeguarding your data, scheduling backups, and using tools to access historic data risk-free. Equip yourself with the knowledge to keep your data secure and your mind at ease.
We round off the week with a bang in our Shortcuts for Success session. The team have compiled their favourite must-have features to help you make the most of your software. We'll share valuable insights and top tips on real-life quick fixes that will elevate your efficiency and productivity. Don't miss out on these game-changing shortcuts.
Finally, put your accounts knowledge to the test with International Accounting Day, the quiz. Each round will be themed around the topics we've covered throughout the week's sessions. It's the perfect way to celebrate International Accounting Day with Sage. Challenge yourself, have fun, and see how much you've learned to earn your digital badge.
Let's celebrate International Accounting Day in style. To secure your spot, head to sage.co.uk/webinars to get registered. We'll see you there.
Okay, so you can see we've got loads of great topics coming up on that International Accounting event, so definitely get registered for those. Okay, so that does bring us to the end of today's session. We haven't got any outstanding questions at the moment, but I'll give it another 30 seconds or so if you do want to get your questions in. I will try my best to answer them. So, however, if you've got what you need today and you want to leave the session, you will receive an email in around an hour or so with links to both our webinar schedule and today's recorded session for you to refer back to if needs be. Upon exiting the session, you will see a survey at the end. If you could please let us know any feedback regarding today's session. We do always love to read those comments. Okay, so no further questions have come through. So what I'll do is I'll wrap that session up. I want to say thank you to you all for your participation today. And just a reminder, we've got plenty of sessions over the next couple of weeks. So don't be shy and get registered. So I want to say another thank you and take care.